All right, good afternoon. A good practice out there today. Excited to get to tomorrow, to get to the open practice. It's something I look forward to. I know the fans look forward to it, but for us as a program, we look forward to it. It brings a lot of energy to our players. A lot of the families will be out there tomorrow, coaches and players alike. So it's an exciting day for us, and we look forward to seeing a great crowd. Questions?
How much can you show in that open practice, especially with it being a two-a-day? What can the fans expect?
The install is still going in, so yeah, we're just going to play football. I'm not going to get too concerned about that. I don't know that structurally we've changed a lot from last year. We just need to do what we do and do it better. So we're going to play football the way we do. We're not going to go out there to intentionally hide anything.
How much changes for you today now that the full pads are on, just evaluation-wise?
Well, we probably would have done a little more full live work today if Kawan was in full pads, but I didn't want him to miss another day of team periods. So 2 of the 3 team periods we did today were thud, and that allows him to play another one live when he couldn't do. So now that everybody that we need will be out there in full pads when we want to, it gives us the flexibility to tackle. And you got to get a certain amount of tackling in training camp if you think you're going to do it well when you start the season.
Kawan looks like he's starting to settle in. Is that accurate to say?
I'd have to watch the film to say that. The thing we knew when we brought him here is that he's played a lot of football, and he's played it on a big stage. So it would really just be a matter of him fitting into our defense, which we thought he would from his skill set. We had enough film on him that we thought he'd be the right fit in terms of what we're going to ask him to do. Now, there'll be a lot of things that go in. We still got quite a bit of the package on defense to install in terms of third down blitzes and first and second down blitzes as well. So all those things will take some time to get used to. But he certainly doesn't seem out of position right now.
When the pads go on and the contact, does that change your evaluation toward the quarterbacks? Does it change the way you think?
Well, the quarterbacks aren't live, but I think it does because I think the pass rush is a little more ferocious, and what's going on in front of you is more active. When you're live, when you're in full pads. So I think that always helps. And now the last part for them, other than handling the situations, will be moving the ball and playing drives. We really haven't done that yet. We'll get into that over the next couple of days.
Did you say a timetable for naming a quarterback?
Yeah, I said at the beginning 7 to 10 days. I want to try and stick to that if we can. And ultimately, I'll make the final decision. And once I make it, it's going to be final. So, when I'm comfortable enough to make it, generally it's about 7 to 10 days.
Carl, you have a little more experience in your safeties than you do in your cornerbacks, I think, with Jacobs and Elon. And does more fall on the secondary than more fall on the safeties than normal back there this year?
Yeah, it's kind of a case of more experience at safety with guys who used to be corners, if you want to say it like that. Those guys are always the quarterbacks anyway, just by virtue of where they're positioned on the field and the calls that they have to make. And I think you always rely on your older players to be the leaders, and guys like DeLon, a guy like Anthony Chaffee, we're going to rely on those guys.
Is it crazy to think that those guys, I mean, I know this happens all the time, but that those guys are now the leaders? I mean, it doesn't seem like that long ago they were forced into a lineup that year, the American Athletic Conference year.
It doesn't to me. It's the nature of college football. Your leadership is cyclical in college football, and now those guys are in their 3rd year. And what I've said all the time is that the players who play as freshmen, those careers go fast. These guys are already on their 3rd year, and they're closing. They're on the back half already. So the players who play as freshmen, it goes a little quicker.
Go ahead.
Does this year feel any different? I mean, last year everybody made a big deal of you going into the Big Ten. Does this year feel any different?
Well, what's different is there's just more familiarity, with the opponents. Although we have some coaches, that'll be different. There's a new defensive coordinator at Washington State. There's a new staff at Norfolk State. There's a new staff at Nebraska. There's although on the staff, new defensive coordinators at Michigan State and new defensive coordinator at Maryland. So there's some new people that we're going to have to game plan against. So we won't necessarily be able to use all the film that we did last year, but certainly be a lot more familiarity. Last year was a completely clean slate.
Dorian Miller, his performance after 4 or 5 days in camp, and your expectations for him the rest of the summer?
No, I'm pleased. My expectations were high coming into training camp for him. He's somebody we've invested a lot of work in the last couple of years. We thought very highly of him when we recruited him, and he's worked really hard, and we've invested in him. Now, the next step for him, I'm anxious to see him finish this week and then Monday in the scrimmage. We're not at the scrimmage point yet, but as you guys know, when you go in the stadium, it's different. It's always different. And we'll be in the stadium Monday with Big Ten officials, and that'll be a great test for a lot of guys, including Dorian.
2 more questions? Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about the top 5 running backs, but has Greg Jones shown you anything in the first couple of practices?
He's done a nice job. Yeah, I think Greg's done a nice job. I think it's still a little early, but I like his effort. That's probably the best thing he's done so far.
How's the punting competition so far?
Joe's probably a little bit ahead. of Timmy. I think he's been a little bit more consistent, and that's really what I'm looking for. I tell the players there's nothing more valuable in life than consistency, and that's what I want. I don't need you to hit it 80 yards one time and 20 the next. I just need you to be consistent and hit it the same distance all the time. So right now Joe's been a little more consistent, but we'll wait probably another week before we even